that current rant gets faster and faster, and I don't even know what's happening. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Grim After Dark. Grim After Dark, of course, the Frontline Gaming Network's weekly interview show where we hit the high points of the last week in the Warhammer community and talk to the best players and content creators from around the world about the one thing we all love, Warhammer. Joining us tonight, TanNore and TayLore are back to talk about Aaron Dembski-Bowden's second Black Legion book, appropriately titled Black Legion, and they're going to answer all the burning questions we all have, such as, are Black Templars still lawful in this book? Shall we see? Well, let's find out. But first, my co-host needs some introduction. He's the terror of the mid-tables and devoted servant of Caliban when his army arrives. It's Danny McDivett. Oh yeah,
we got special effects budget now, guys.
Heck yeah, he won a GT 3 years ago.
No, it was way longer than that. That was the 7th edition GT, John.
That was the quality Alaskan GTs where our prizes were desk name tags, apparently. Like leading.
Yeah. It's like one of those things that sits on your desk that like tells you who you're talking to. Like, I don't know. Like it's lame. So I realized, like, as we were in the intro, why did we not call this episode like Broke Black Legion? Like, that should have been the title of this episode for sure, I feel like, right?
I mean, like, if you could come up with these ideas like 603 when I start writing the
comes
show,
to me,
then that would be really helpful.
I know. Yeah.
It's great. I want to say thank you, Al Tet on YouTube said the intro jokes of Grim After Dark are not my favorite way of procrastinating at work. I don't know why. No one enjoys those, but I appreciate you putting those down there. Speaking of intro jokes, though, Danny, shocking news this week coming from Bloomberg. Paint makers around the world are running out of the color blue. Ultramarine players, Deathskull players, Dire Avenger spammers are all assuredly stockpiling blue paints in their hobby bunkers. What message do you have for those worried hobbyists?
Man, John, you know what? You're gonna have to come back to me in like 30 minutes when I think of a good joke for this. But like
the title you correct right away, but no, like the joke about the blue paint. Like, give me time. Okay. Well, it's time for the rest
I got nothing.
Jerk. So we'll come back to the blue paint before.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Like, give me a half hour and then we'll be good.
We're gonna circle around. Okay. So when it hits 33 minutes, I got to write this down.
Like you never think of anything good to say in the moment, but like, a few minutes later, like it just comes to you and you have like the perfect comeback. Like that's me, like all the time, every day.
Oh, dude, I never think of the right thing to say. You've listened to this show. But anyway, moving on to what was affectionately referred to as the Danny and John Circle Jerk, the rest of the jokes we have here. Our favorite toy maker, Joy Toy, is back with more scale models of your Warhammer favorites, with Intercessors, the next ones on the menu, as well as this excellent Invictor Warsuit, which we can assume is coming to scale. Danny, what are your thoughts on the kind of the upcoming toy line? We're moving into vehicles now.
I'm really glad that they've decided to go the route of a pleasure model, as that's a well-known like.
I'm just happy this one can be plugged in.
Yeah,
like battery usage would be crazy on that thing. Yeah, so like the wall outlet is super handy.
Dude, that fist that it has is going to get a lot of use. That's all I have to say.
So I got to come back to you in 30 minutes for the color blue, but like right away that you're good with the Invictor fist joke. It's great.
Got it. Yep.
Got it. Boom, done. So more plushies are coming with this festive Squig plush next up. The announcement of which caused some internet commentators to wonder why Khayon, a third-party manufacturer of stuffed licensed characters, wasn't using their time better to update Eldar rules. As the comment said, what could be better? New codexes and proper supplements for Army without current 9th edition rules. New minis and updated ones for other races like Guards, Nids, Eldar, Ets. Model kits with better value for money. The list could go on, honestly. Starting to really struggle to recognize this company anymore. So with that sort of in mind, Danny, what do you see a plush toy manufacturer doing to really tighten this rule setup?
So I think that they could easily increase the snuggability of Eldar by at least 10 to 15%. I mean, that seems to be kind of their MO. And then they could replace some of the harder chitin on the Tyranid models with some very soft suede to make them a little bit more comfortable to
Yeah.
cuddle with. So
You lose a little bit of your save value, but you gain speed from the smoothness of your chitin.
just like my brain, John.
That's fair, and thank you, of course, a commentator saying the randomly losing audio in this show will be a positive. That was very hurtful and accurate, and I appreciate that. Finally, tonight we're going to look at the state of the meta and a couple of select pictures that were shared with us here. Firstly, there's going to be this Discord post from a gentleman ordered some Grey Knights on eBay, as is the popular thing to do right now. And when they were sent, they were literally wrapped in ripped up shreds of the current Genestealer Cult Codex. Danny,
this I have no comment for that, John.
But is this the most effective way that Genestealer Cult can bubble wrap things? Like, I don't know.
Well, they do kind of fill out the rest of the Tyranid army, so I guess it does fit in kind of a way. Like, you take that little extra battalion to get yourself some to score yourself maybe some objectives, and in this case he scored himself some Grey Knights and switched up to a much better army, so
which will most certainly score primary way more than a Genestealer Cult army right now. Sad times. Yep. So SoCal Open was last weekend, which I'm sure a lot of people were watching. SoCal had some of the most considerate players in the world, realizing how sleep deprived the Ocho team was from the weekend's really strenuous streaming schedule and wrapping it all up in 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's not all the weekend gave us, though. We also got this amazing Reese meme, style guide approved, which shows Reese sadly looking at his computer, realizing that he has about hundreds of orders for Orc Flyers, but only 2 available from GW. I think my favorite thing about this joke is it hits the player base and also the distribution, because it's all true. Right. Danny, what are some thoughts coming out of SoCal in that very travel-sized round or fun-sized round?
Yeah, it was definitely a fun-sized round, that's for sure. I'm glad that we're getting some non-crying Reese gifs like that people are using, like in other memes. I love you love to see Reese involved in the hobby in like such a visceral way, and that's a multi-tier joke, folks. That's what this meme is. It's 2 things for the price of 1, just like that Joy Toy and Victor.
And then. And you can see all of these pictures if you're following along with Podcast at Home at our Twitter, which is at GrimdarkFLGN, where there's also for your use, if you, of course, very responsible, mature adults with it, a small GIF of Reese pretending to cry sarcastically, which I've used throughout the Comp 40K community this past week to react to many things, and each one of them quite fantastic.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be complete, John, if I didn't mention that it's also a great place to stock up on your images for dildo jokes.
Yeah,
as we do every single week. That's right.
We have at least 3 up there now. And a couple not even involving Joy Toy. I guess that's the well we go to.
That's right.
We have KR Quinn in the chat here, Danny. 40K stream versus Red Zone. Who wins? My first question for this is, what is a Red Zone?
Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard it's an NFL thing.
It's an American football thing. It's pretty good. 40K stream badly imitating NFL Red Zone. Now I will say, okay, let's go off topic a little bit here, Danny.
Yeah, sure.
I actually super enjoyed the streams, and actually just kind of the progression of what the stream is, and the way that it was set up, where you had your central like servo skull style cam that kind of rotated around all the different games. So if one was boring, you just moved away. I super liked it. Show me an NFL Red Zone where you have 3 stadiums beside each other, where the camera just rotates around and picks out different ones.
Yeah, John, you know that they can.
Yep, I'm being told that's exactly what NFL Red Zone is. Great job.
Yep.
Love it. Perfect. I'm showing off in this podcast here, Danny. I don't know if you know, but
John, I don't know if you realize this, but technologically speaking, you can replicate this with a TV remote and flipping between different channels.
Wait, TV remote flip.
Yeah, make sure to write that in the style guide.
I will. So I want to let everyone know, obviously, my knowledge of football is far above and beyond my knowledge of 40K. So with that, with that out of the way, Danny, why don't you introduce our guests and get this horrible embarrassment of me away for a little bit?
So we've spoken with them together and then individually, and now they're back together again, much like some abusive relationships. So tonight we have on TayLore and Tanner, the Lore Bros, and we're happy to talk about Black Legion today. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Don't worry, John. I'll take all the cringe away from you and put it onto myself.
Dude, perfect. That is amazing. Yeah. I will say, Taylor, that this is one book for the whole hour and not 53 books for the hour. So you're going to have to expand on your point.
I don't know if I can have that many opinions, but I'll really try.
And then Tanner, welcome back. Last scene, of course, talking about the Warhammer Plus. That hammers are fun. Now talking about, that's copyright somewhere else now. We can't do that. It's going to be bad times. But now back to talk to us about Black Legion. So I guess we'll just start. Taylor, why don't you describe the entirety of Black Legion?
All of it.
Succinctly, but detailed as possible in the next 3.5 minutes.
All right. So the whole thing, like the overview, like what the book is about. All right, I got you. 8 guys, 10 really, but 8, and their buddies kind of misunderstand how space battle works and don't have any logistics, but they're really looking for a sword, and they think it's really cool.
Do they know they're looking for a sword?
Not until about 4 hours in.
Well, hold on. One guy knows.
Yeah, one guy
7
knows.
guys who
And
don't
a
know
lady.
about the sword. Yeah.
They have to go bully a lady first before he'll tell them all about it, which, I mean, fair. Also, they have to go. Yeah, they have to go talk smack about. Yeah, they have to go talk smack about Horus.
I think you pretty much nailed the book, but I think we can do it a little more justice if we start at the beginning.
We can just go home. I am hearing from our producer, there's a lot of comment in chat, Tanner, about your hair being different from the last time.
I don't know what you're talking about, John.
I just want to point out to all of the chat, nothing has changed with Tanner's hair. It's exactly the same as it was last time. The only way you can prove me wrong is going back to old videos on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook and rewatching them all.
Please leave a comment.
Liking and subscribing. That's the only way you can tell any difference.
You can't be proven wrong, and it hasn't changed. I don't really know what that's about.
Turn your notifications on.
Oh my god. Ring the bell. Algorithm? I don't. Oh god. Okay.
It's fair.
Cool. So I feel like you're right. We can there's like a little bit more detail in here, like a tiny, very tiny bit.
Okay.
So I'll start us. Do you want to go first? I'll start us off.
No, you go ahead. I love your descriptions, Taylor. Please hit me with scene 1 of Black Legion.
I need to work myself up, but I'll really try. All right, so we're 10,000 years in the future from 9,000 years ago, which is when the story actually takes place, but all the stuff that's important happens all the way back then. And he's talking, and he's like, man, I don't have any hands. They're all chained up. I don't have eyes. My brain can't see your brain with my magic powers, but man, I have some stuff to tell you, and it's going to be about the Black Legion, like the name of the book, and it's going to be about Abaddon, and I'm going to say a bunch of other stuff that doesn't happen in this book. Wait for book 3, TM. We'll see if that happens.
He's literally writing it now. It's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe. And then this will be a big chronicle. Oh yeah, sorry. Anyway,
he quit the internet so he could keep writing it, and people would stop sending him penis pictures.
So
I haven't joked about that in a while, but a lot of people did send pictures of their penis to him.
That's probably for the best. Not the penis part, the leaving the internet. I feel like that's the healthy choice for all of us.
The penis part is not a healthy choice.
Can I ask you about this opening scene?
Yeah,
I know from our last discussion that you hate narrators. So was this a particularly triggering way for the book to start?
No, it's fine. It's boring and it's nothing, but it's fine. I do hate narrators, though. They are the bane of my existence. They should simply choose to be interesting and not a husk of nothing.
The opening scene was well written, and
Aaron
Dembski-Bowden can write prose better than almost any of the other Black Library authors. So
that's fair. He just has absolutely no idea how to write a battle scene that's at all interesting.
Oh, you're gonna have to get us to the battle scenes.
That's so far, dude. That's so far away. Anyway.
And again, thank you, Mr. Dembski-Bowden, for all of your things. And if you do want to come on to a low podcast at any point in time, please ignore the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, just kill me. Just come on and just punch me right in the face. Like, I deserve it. It's fine.
Danny, you look like you wanted to interject there.
Oh, no, John, I thought of it. I got it.
You got it.
Does this change the blue book value of blue paint?
You got 18 more minutes, man. Like, better. Come on.
Damn it. All right.
Expect that from me, not from you.
Sorry. All right. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So, actual first scene of the book. He's not talking to Thoth anymore. Khayon is doing a big magic. He's doing one of the biggest magics that he's ever done, seemingly. Yes. So he's infiltrated. So this book is about mainly his conflict with Derevek, both personally and with the Black Legion. And Derevek is some big stinky man. He's got cataphractia on. He's very upset about everything. He's got big brass horns. I don't know what the brass is about. They should probably be bone. That's fine. And
he's got big wings as well.
He does have big wings. They smell very bad.
He's halfway to Demon Prince.
Right. Yeah. He's got a big halo and it's gross. Mm-hmm. Khayon has been here to kill him before, not here specifically, but like here as his general location. He's been here to murder him like 4 or 5 times, and he's failed every single time because magic sucks. But Khayon does spend a bunch of time talking in this scene about how magic is cool, and all the best assassins are made of magic, or do magic, or are magic.
I think it then illustrates how cool the magic in 40K is. I know this is one of your favorite parts, because his assassination follows as such. He hides himself away on the world, which is filled with beastmen who congregate at Derevek's Nurgle Temple / Factorium / staging post. And then he spends weeks infiltrating the minds of all of these different Space Marine and Goatmen. And then he starts by throwing all of the Goatmen into the machinery to jam it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little off brand here. I actually think this scene is awesome. I think
couldn't he just have murdered
really
the Goatmen to start with and thrown them into jam the machine without weeks of magical hypnosis, though?
No,
so not all at once.
Okay, fair.
The big whole process that he does is he spends like a year and a half at this place, psychically hollowing out servants of Derevek, like goat people and his marines and like serfs and stuff. And it all culminates in this one like really big master plan, masterstroke moment. And I actually think this scene is like really cool. Like awesome. This is what I think magic should be in 40K. It takes a lot of setup and planning, and it also doesn't work. Lamau got him. He does fail to kill Derevek again for reasons we'll find out later again. But he's got a new pet now. He's a big cat, and Khayon doesn't like him that much. He thinks he kind of sucks, but he keeps him around because he reminds him of his other cat. Wolf. Wolves are not cat. Yeah, you're right. Wolves aren't cats, but he keeps
them
around.
They're the dogs of cats. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. He keeps them around to remind him of that.
Aren't cats.
And they fail to kill Derevek, but yeah, it's this big cascading scene of like this guy at this time will be a big traitor to the traitor because I hollowed out his brain, and this goat man will throw himself into a reactor, and this serf will light her own fist on fire and shove it into the gas tank of this Thunderhawk and like detonate it. Like that's awesome. That's rad. That's what I'm talking about.
It's very metal. It's very chaos aggressive. Nobody's spared. Everybody's turned into gore and like very useful ways for Khayon's plan.
It also
and there's a pretty good fight scene at the end of it too, when they basically pin this down a landing pad.
Right. It's fine. Yeah. Oh my.
I would say it's a great start to the book because you get a couple pages of the intro of like, okay, we're back in the narration. Khayon's telling us the story.
Right.
Now we have an explanation or a reason to put Khayon off screen as far as the rest of the Black Legion is concerned, because when he arrives back at the Legion after his failed assassination, it gives... I can't help but talk about how this is a well-written and smooth book, because I know you're not going to appreciate it. It gives the reader a good reason to be there for that catch-up scene of like, hey, what's been going on with the Black Legion? Because you've been gone for, when you're in the Warp and the Eye, anywhere between a year and a half, 20 years, 3 days. So he comes back in after that.
I think this one takes him 10 years as far as the Black Legion perspective is concerned.
Yeah, I think so.
About 10 years, because he's a huge nerd who can't do anything.
But actually, a good description of that time dilation, which I thought was interesting because a lot of this book, Khayon talks about how much it sucks to be a Chaos Space Marine, which is on brand and very accurate and a relatable part of Chaos Space Marines.
Right. It is suffering for sure all the time.
Yeah.
I really like the part where he's talking about Chaos Marines where Terra happened like 4 weeks ago.
Yes.
And for Chaos Marines who Terra happened like They have no idea. They've been fighting for so long. They have absolutely no conception of when Terra even happened.
And
I
they
thought that was really
don't
cool.
feel the flow of time the same way, because sometimes you arrive before you left and sometimes you arrive a century late. They sort of exist atemporally.
Their only
Terrible
state of
death.
mind, their only state of mind is being alive or being dead.
Yes, just totally
just completely disconnected. Like I think that's rad. That's the kind of stuff I want more of, like more of what it's like to be a Chaos Space Marine instead of what it's like to be a sad dust man.
You should love
Khayon, isn't Khayon legitimately just through these books telling you what it's like to be a Chaos Space Marine?
Yes.
No, he's not.
Yes,
he's talking about how sad he is that Abaddon is cooler than him, but also that he loves Abaddon. How he's sad he is that his Eldar girlfriend is dead, but actually, I mean, it's fine. She doesn't take part in any of the story. And how sad he is that his dog is dead, but I mean, whatever. I got this big cat now. Or
you just exactly described what it is to be a Chaos Space Marine, though. I don't understand
They're
what part
all
you
sad
missed.
about their dead cats. Like that's the second rule of Chaos.
There's that sense of melancholy, right? That they
all have dead cats to mourn.
Yes. There's an existential angst when you like exist outside of time and you're stuck in this terrible place and all of your friends are melting around you. And Abaddon is cooler than you all of the time.
In actual hell.
Literally in hell. And they know they're in hell.
And I think when you say it like that, you're totally correct. I just don't think Khayon is an excellent like lens to view that through, because
interesting.
I just don't really think he feels like that. I
mean, he says that a couple times.
I think
he's
he
like,
sucks.
Being leashed in hell is really tough for all of the aforementioned reasons.
Howdy, it doesn't suck being in hell, right? But Danny, you were saying.
Well, I was going to ask TayLore. So instead of that lens, like ADB does a good job of kind of showing like the narrative of a Chaos Space Marine through Talos. Do you feel like that's a better representation? Like, or do you think that's just like Talos?
I think Talos. So I've only read parts of that series, mostly because I can only listen through audio format, and the guy who reads that book really sounds like Dracula is outside of my window trying to seduce me, and I can only do that for so long.
I can really 10 hours at a time.
Yeah, I can only put up with the Dracula whispers for a couple hours at a time. But I think it's better personally. I
don't disagree. I think Night Lords is even better than Black Legion. I just think they're both good.
Yeah, they're in different ways.
So
definitely.
I won't even I like the second Black Legion book. I actually like it a lot more than the first one. I really feel like Black Legion should have been the first book, because all of the narrative stuff that happens in the second book makes a lot more sense for at least I feel, for the characters if it happened first instead of second. Like it's really weird to see Khayon be this omega powerful sorcerer who can hurl ships at planets as he's kept them invisible for 6 months as he dragged them with his own mind across the warp, and he also can't kill this one guy. Why doesn't he just use the same
6 months getting the ships across? It's very tiring on the old brain.
He didn't try throwing a ship at him, which probably would have been better than the whole collapsing the
probably
base.
He's in Derek Ball's pocket, right? Like that's
right.
The whole
so we can just say that. So the reason he can't kill Derevek is one-on-one. Like he can kill him. He just like so Khayon has to go through like an anime power-up arc in this book. Except instead of the power of friendship, it's the power of hatred. And he has to rediscover his hatred, his anime hatred, in order to defeat the big man. And I mean, fair, you can't rediscover your anime hatred if you just hurl a ship at the anime man. But you could have
stop. So the thing you're describing is literally the most anime sentence that you've described yet on your appearances. Like, you can't be anime by hurling an entire ship with your mind at a person. Like at this point,
you can't have the arc. Right, you can't have the arc. Would I prefer it if Khayon like unleashed a big drill from his arm and went full Gurren Lagann at Derevik? Yes, I think that would have been a better scene for sure. But that didn't happen. He had to discover his big anime hatred for the big anime man.
Sure.
I don't know. I think there's some weird stuff with like motivations, because when Khayon goes back to Abaddon, and Abaddon is like, God, you're such a nerd now.
We should talk about this scene before we talk about how you feel about this scene.
That's fair. Okay,
yeah,
sure.
So why don't we jump in? Tanner, you come in, describe the scene.
Sure.
Taylor, you do your very best to just hold in the rage and
I will be unreasonable.
Rediscover your anger, Taylor.
Yeah,
rediscover it.
All I want to hear from you is occasional. So Taylor, occasional grunts. So whenever you Tanner's saying something you don't agree with, all I want to hear is a ooh.
All right.
We're gonna go from here. So Tanner, go.
All right, so Khayon doesn't kill Derevek. He's pretty sad about it. He goes back to find the rest of the Black Legion. He finds that they are amassed in this large fleet of warships. He shows up on the bridge. He has a little communication with his, the white sorcerer Saruman best friend from Thousand Suns homeworld buddy who guides all the ships because you can't have navigators in the warp because they have too many eyes or, not enough eyes. And he's like, hey, dude, shit on the bridge is not going well. And he's like, I got to get to the bridge. It's never the
exact amount of eyes. It's too many or too little.
Exactly.
That is what you need to be a chaos sorcerer.
You need 2.5 eyes. Really.
You have to put the eyes on the inside.
Yeah.
We have
or inside the armor or in a hand. But so he gets back to the ship and he gets to the bridge and he's like, oh, my two boys from the last book are about to fight. The angry corn guy and the lieutenant of the super cool Slanesh guy who were sort of pals now.
Doesn't the angry corn guy have a heavy bolter?
Not in this moment, but yes, he does. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He actually, in this scene, he has a knife, which is a pretty cool flex because he goes to fight the finest swordsman in the Legion with a kitchen knife, a Squid Game moment against an anime katana guy.
Yeah.
And it's just totally fine with it. Right. Yeah. And the implication is Leoric might still have won that one. Kind of interrupts. None of this is related to his getting mad arc, which I think is the most important part of this book. So none of that conversation is important. And then he talks to Abaddon. And Abaddon is like, dude, you didn't kill him. And he's like, damn, Abaddon, you look really tired. And Abaddon's like, I'm more tired because you didn't kill him. Taylor, so far, so good?
Totally. Yep, you're good.
I've heard zero grunts. So this is just an agreement fest right here.
Yeah, I didn't know that this was just agree to agree about this book.
I'm trying.
All right.
I'm trying to get into some stuff we will disagree with a Taylor style summary.
Danny, new episode title, Danny. The new episode title is Tanner and Taylor politely agree about thoughts of Black Legion.
Look, don't worry, John. We started with the only part of the book that Taylor likes, and it's going to get worse for him, and it's going to get. I'm going to get more enthusiastic. So
I'll just get more angry. It's fine.
There's a brief discussion, and then some time passes in the interminable way that it does in the warp, and then they are sent on a mission. Taylor, interrupt me if I get this wrong. I believe they go down to a planet. There's something crashed on the planet. There's a random Thousand Sun guy on the planet. And then they talk to this man and he's like, yo, Khayon, you can't be you. Didn't you die on this one planet? And then you get this inner monologue. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sure I missed
we should go back to when Abaddon actually talks to Khayon.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta just rediscover your anger. So one thing I think is interesting is I don't think Abaddon believes in the Black Legion. I don't think he believes anything that he's selling, like the whole Brotherhood thing, the whole we need to, the Imperium is ours. I don't believe he's I don't believe he believes any of that. I don't believe like that at all. And most of
when he gives us, me and Danny, the pep talk that we're good before we start.
Exactly.
It's just empty words to inspire. Yeah.
Or that this is your favorite episode at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
We could call Val the War Master of the FLGN Pod
Ezekiel Heffelfinger.
Heffelfinger the spoiler. I don't know.
Yeah.
Most of why I think that comes a lot from this scene. And when Abaddon is like choking Khayon to death as he's doing, he yells at him.
They spar and then it escalates like two guys who wrestled and it got a little heated. Yeah.
Right. They all take off their clothes. They slowly strip the armor from each other.
They oil up a little bit.
Like a Cinemax version of
Okay, please tell me why what was I thought a very inspiring speech and a redirect for Khayon shows that Abaddon doesn't believe in what he's talking about.
So from my perspective at least, what Abaddon is saying to Khayon is just not true for the most part. Like he's asking him to like rediscover his hatred for these people and
Vindicta.
Right. The only reason that Abaddon needs him to do that is so that he can serve Abaddon's purpose, not for any like growth that Khayon needs to do, not for any betterment of Khayon. It's only to serve Abaddon's purpose solely.
Yeah,
and
they're Chaos Space Marines. They don't have seminars about self-growth. They're focused on getting out of the warp and going to kill the Imperium again.
That would be amazing.
And he's explicit about it. Yeah, they don't go to Tony Robbins and walk on fire. He's like, please summon fire under the guy. You know, I keep sending you, and you keep failing. This guy is hounding our asses throughout all of the eye. We can't leave if we have to focus on
all Khayon talks about throughout this book is how much Abaddon thinks he's cool and how much he loves his brothers and how much he thinks, like, I don't know. I'm
this
probably
is
not
the scene
explaining
that
it very
exemplifies that. He's like, oh, you failed me for the 7th time. But unlike every other Chaos War leader, I'm not going to tear you apart and then split 2 halves of you and glue them onto the sides of my throne and then, like, tickle your eyeballs to demonstrate why you shouldn't fail me. He's like, I'm going to give you a quick little choke, and then I'm going to throw you to the ground and say, rediscover your hate. You know?
I'm just going to snap your spine
Get
just a little
back
bit.
to it. And then Khayon keeps pestering him for the whole book. And Abaddon says, please stop doubting me. We're trying to stay focused on winning. Like, all Abaddon wants to do is win, and Khayon is doing none of that. But he doesn't punish him beyond just a display. That's a chill
fair.
bro move by Chaos standards.
It's a little slap and tickle. That's
I don't know. I read the scene a bit differently, but I've read this book so many times now that all the information about it and all my opinions about it are just leaking out of my brain. So I'm not explaining it very well.
That's why you're here, Taylor. That's like the sole reason you're here is your opinions leak out of your brain when you're talking about books.
It's not doing it in the optimal way, though. I'm sorry.
So they have this conversation, right? And we can agree to disagree over where Abaddon is genuine, but he does say, like, I need you to go to a planet. I need you to go to a ship. I need you to find the lady in the lake of the Arthurian legend where we get the sword. Which, by the way, John, this one's not a heist book. It's actually King Arthur, which is another cool.
Then, actually, super quick, I just have to jump in here, take care of a little bit of business. 30 minutes ago, I presented Danny with a joke. Ultramarine players, Death Skull players, and Dire Avenger spammers are all surely stockpiling blue paints in their hobby bunker. And asked Danny, what message do they have for worried hobbyists? It's been 30 minutes, Danny. So I'm now passing it back to you. What is your message for worried hobbyists?
Don't be blue, stock up on blue paint.
But dude, perfect.
That sucks, man.
I'm sorry. I try. I don't know.
Look,
I thought the blue book joke was good, but like this was.
It was, but you have more time, and you came up with that joke in less time than it takes to play an entire game of Warhammer, or slightly more.
All of these armies,
depending on what the game
only
is.
at the top tables, John.
Only at the very tippy top.
John, can I have a swing? The owner of all of these armies already have a surplus of blue inside because all of their armies are terrible.
Oh,
they don't need any paint.
Yeah. I'm just being told that our editor, I was being told our editor is very excitedly lighting up a bunch of like sad trombone noises to put in there.
He actually somehow mimicked one perfectly. Like,
I
don't know how that was possible.
So perfectly. Moving on. Back to Black Legion, Tanner.
Very
you were
organic
saying, or Taylor, you were saying.
Transition here, John.
Do you want to talk about them going down to the world, Taylor? Do you want me to talk
sure. So we gotta go down to Malium, and Malium is like made of bones or whatever. I think it rains all the burning hot tears of all the liars in the universe, or some nonsense like that. It's where the 16th Legion went to die, but not really, because it's fine for the most part.
Just Horus.
Just Horus. Well, he was already dead. They were just like, we're going to put his big corpse here, and we're going to look at it.
No stealing.
No stealing. Fabius. Fabius, no Fabiusing.
Please stay behind the velvet rope. Do not trespass. Yeah.
Horus's body is solely just on like a folding table behind a small velvet rope in front of a sign that just says, "Please do not clone our Primarch."
It's all you can afford when, as part of the Legion Wars, you're constantly hunted down and mercilessly slaughtered for wearing the color green. No other reason. Yeah. So they come down to this planet.
Actually?
It's more like a sea green. I don't know.
Okay. That's
now I have
color.
images of like a world eater just holding up like a paint swatch to people's armor being like, damn it, this one is a seafoam green. We're looking for the teal marines.
Is this Alpha Legion or Sons of Horus? I don't know. So we get down, and there's a big magic man, and he's got 14 rubrics. I don't know if that's important, but he's got them.
Can I say this? This is like my probably third favorite scene in the book. Second favorite scene being the first scene, but I really like this part. I thought it was awesome.
Can you tell me what you liked about this part?
Okay, so
yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Like the whole like capturing of the rubrique from another like, and it was kind of like the acquisition of like the rubrique that Khayon is trying to do and like incorporating them in the Black Legion, and then also instead of painting them, just burning off their previous colors with warp flame, and then like that being good enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought everything else surrounding the scene was kind of lame.
We do get an introduction to that Khayon is okay. So Taylor and I had an argument before the pod that we probably don't need to rehash, but there's some ambiguity in the scenes where he's talking to the Inquisition about whether he's telling the truth or not. Right? Agree to disagree on whether or not that's true. But during the like main timeline of this novel, this is the introduction of the ambiguity of is he being truthful with us as the reader or himself, because he's challenged for the first time about dying, and he's accused of like whatever wears your flesh isn't actually Khayon, which is a pretty good diss. I liked that line a lot right before he crushed that dude into his armor and took all of his marines.
Obliterated him. Yeah, he called him uninspired and absolutely nothing else about the duel.
And then he does this thing though that's going to come up again a couple times where his internal narration just starts to write it overwrites whatever happens. He's like talking to himself about how irritating and misled this guy is as he's killing him.
Right.
And that's the first hint as a reader. You're like, okay, something actually happened to Khayon. Maybe he did die at this world. What happened?
Right. So he spends way too long like denying anything actually happened on that planet, which I can't remember the name of. And I think that's it. I do think it's an interesting question of whether he's lying or if he's just wrong. Personally, I think he's just wrong. I think he's just misinterprets or misremembers or is wrong about.
I think that's actually explicit later. I think he had this is like his repressed trauma or what have you.
Yeah.
Plus
about
psychic.
About that scene in particular, yes, he is just wrong.
Yeah.
But I think also throughout the book, especially about some characters' motivations and what a character means when they say or do something, he interprets it one way. And personally, I interpret it as a superior being. I interpret it a different way, the correct way.
See, I'm going to have to report this to the Inquisition. They're going to have a little cell prepared for you if you got a better read on the lore, dude.
Well, there's going to be one cell for TayLore and then another cell for his arrogance. So
yeah. That's fair. And Taylor,
man,
don't you dare narrate your story from that jail cell. Otherwise, like hypocrisy is huge. There.
I'm really surprised you guys think you can fit the arrogance in one cell, but I'll take that slide, I guess. That seems kind of rude, but fine.
So
I'd be surprised if he told the truth, to be honest.
Nice. I think the rest of Malian, until they get to the end of their quest, is kind of boring.
Yeah, it's almost nothing.
Literally
nothing happens.
That is very cool. They walk through tunnels forever and ever. And it's like, oh, we built a lot of tunnels. It took us 10 days to give an example of how many tunnels there are. But then they find a room filled with ghosts, like literally pirate ship ghosts floating around of all the dead who died, sort of trapped in the nexus of where Horus's soul used to be.
Like it's at the end of the journey, right?
Right.
Like this is the room where Horus laid. And
that was a good visual. And Khayon,
I thought it was cool.
Has his moment where he's part of the D&D party, and the other two fighters are like, "Hey, cast the wizard spell," and he waves his hand.
Like, can you cast detect evil, please? Like, I really need to touch this object.
And all these ghosts
obliterate me.
They flutter away, except one who becomes.
Oh, it's not a ghost.
The plot of the rest of the Black Legion series, presumably.
One imagines.
I bet you have an opinion about this character.
This is where we meet Moriana, and I don't know. I don't know what to think about her yet. Because really, we don't see anything from her. Well, she talks to Abaddon for about 5 minutes, and then Khayon spends the rest of the book just constantly talking smack about her.
Yes.
Just constant references to evil stuff she does in the future and how much he hates her.
We get a really cool tie-in, though, during one of the interrogation scenes. Do you remember that?
Right. Are we talking about Moriana probably being one of the characters from the Siege of Terra?
Yeah, and also, so he's talking to an Inquisitor who silently walks into the room. He's like, hey, I see you've gone to your hidden libraries and accessed the forbidden documents, and you're starting to think that name sounds familiar. And he pretty explicitly says, she used to be one of the high members of your Ordo, or like the Inquisition in the post-heresy, pre-contemporary 40k arc, which means that you probably get a Siege character, becomes an Inquisitor Lord, becomes the like Herald of Abaddon.
Right. So before, he's just been talking to Thoth, which is just like a servitor who records everything he says. And you kind of get drip fed a couple of times throughout the book is there's not actually just a servitor here anymore. There are more Inquisitors. There are more important people. And then eventually there's just this one Inquisitor who keeps coming back and like starts to smile when he talks, which is kind of weird, but you know, I think that's really neat. Khayon is a big.
It doesn't mean you can't be happy like the whole time.
It does actually. Khayon is a big loser though, and is still stuck in the cage that he's in as of the new Siege of Terra in 40k, confirmed in those Emperor's Legion books. So he is still a big loser.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, for sure.
So
noted.
Or maybe it was his plan all along, and he's been digging that intel from that jail cell.
It was his plan all along.
Yeah.
His plan is to sit on Terra till the Red Path comes, and then the Crimson Path, and then the Crimson Path went the other way, and Nihilus was created, and he's still in the cell like a big nerd. Anyway, back to talking about something.
Presumably the next scene in the book after they find Moriana.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
so,
we talk about through that scene. Oh,
yeah, we need to talk about that scene for sure.
So is this where they talk about the Emperor being a god now in the Imperium, or is that later on?
They talk about it for a little bit, and then they jump to the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah.
So
because that is my very favorite scene in the entire book.
I actually agree.
Absolutely. So then, Denny, what makes that like your favorite scene in the book, and what really stands out to you about that one there?
Well, like they just start laughing because of the ludicrousy of of what they of
so
what they're
Moriana
trying to accomplish with like the Long War,
right?
And like they're like, oh my god, the word bearers were right this entire time. Like they actually won. They won the entire the entire heresy. Like everybody else lost, the word bearers won, and it just like made me laugh and smile. Like, and they're all like just busting up, like just either dumbfounded or the Slanesh guy. What is it?
Telemachon.
Lycros or whatever. Or he's just as like he's like laughing super hard. And I don't know. It just tickled me to like know that everything they've done was sort of in vain so far. Like they're just kind of fighting to lose the war this entire time. Yeah,
super for nothing, for sure. I really like that scene as well. Like she's talking, and at one point she just says the word God Emperor, and all of the Chaos Marines kind of like they like freeze. They're like, "What did you just say? Would you just repeat that? What did you just say?" And she's like,
"I saw him 2 weeks ago, and he said he wasn't a god."
The God Emperor, and like you said, Telemachon starts laughing so hard that he like throws up blood.
Yeah. Right,
which I think is great.
Very healthy.
Like the word bearers like eat shame and drink dirt, but they won. So got them.
Yeah,
which I thought was really cool.
That was a good scene.
We were wiped out to a man, and we have to hide in literal hell for the rest of our lives, but we won. We were right about that one thing.
Not gonna lie, man. The logistics here just don't matter. Like, okay, so about 40 minutes ago in this book, they're like, all right, the Black Legion has like 40,000 members. About 2 hours from now, we're about to say that over hundreds of thousands of Chaos Marines invade the Materium when we go. So like, whatever. At one point in this book, the Black Legion literally loses its entire logistics base. It's all gone. All of their resources, all of their like.
This is all alluded to off screen, Taylor. I can't clamp my mouth.
Exactly.
It's all alluded to off screen. Do you want to read a book about playing Civ 6 in the warp where you have to like slowly build bases? No. He says the Black Legion flies around, scoops people up, makes alliances that can be trusted, and has aggregated power over this fluctuating timeline, and then they do it.
Listen,
That's the whole thing.
You listen to me. You listen to me. That book I recommended you after the first one is just that. It's just this guy builds an empire, and I want it again. I want it. Is
that called The Chaos Accountant?
Yes.
Like where he just like does balance sheets and like just keeps track of like army rosters and
200 pages of him trying to correct one flaw in his Excel formula.
It's actually like 600 pages, and it's just infinitely more interesting than anything Khayon has ever said.
Taylor,
we
cannot have complaints about this book be that the math doesn't check out in the warp. Okay, man, you got to lever a different complaint. When we get out of Mechanicum, I'll start doing the tonnage requirements on a Titan, and we'll see how much ore is in Mars. You know what I mean? Like
big, come on, dude. Large. Yeah.
So
let's talk about the next scene. That's too hot of a take.
They get out of the warp, right? They get out of the warp. They catch people.
No, not there yet.
No, we're not.
I want to describe them leaving the warp. All right, Taylor, let me get this one.
Fine.
All right.
We're talking about the duel yet? Is that?
We'll do two things, three things. We'll do leaving the warp, ship battles that Taylor hates, in the duel. Right? We can bing, boom.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Wait, which duel?
The only one that
matters.
There's
two.
Yeah,
the Sigismund one is the good one.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, you have to understand that Khayon, that's where he gets his hatred back, right?
Okay, we'll do four.
No, we're talking about you're talking about the Derevik one, because there's actually 3 in this book.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Sure. You're right. That's fair.
Let's get out of the eye. I just want to
quickly remind all of our listeners and viewers that while we are talking about spoilers, you will not be able to follow along with anything we're saying.
Yeah.
So if you want an example of that, listen to the last 30 seconds, hit that last 30-second button, and you will find exactly why these are perfect for everyone. But Tanner, please continue with your first of 4 specific things.
The Black Legion had I'm going to sound like Taylor, had a big plan to escape the eye. And the way they did it is they got all of their fleet together, and they decided we're going to try really hard this time. So
yeah, cool.
That was literally how they did it.
Yeah.
Are you sure this isn't a heist?
The book 3 might be heisting the sword, but
okay, cool.
Khayon has a friend. He's the White Wizard. He's the Saruman of space. This is his fucking moment. He's the one who is the navigator who flies their biggest ship, the most important big lad. And he is what you focus on as they try and fly out of the Eye of Terror. So he squints his eyes really tight, and they fucking hyperspace jump out through the eye. And immediately they're getting reports of all of their ships blowing up. And they're like, this isn't working very well. And the coolest bit is that guy starts to be flayed in real time, his skin stitching down like Hellraiser, and psychosomatic wounds shredding him layer by layer off of his body until he has to give up and they don't escape the warp.
Right.
So good so far. And then they figure out how to get out.
Right. Their immaculate plan of, we'll just try really hard. Just really, really hard. Immediately fails. Which, I mean, fair. And
then
so they do have...
Here real quick, Taylor, we have Kara Quinn saying that we're spoiling Warhawk by saying Sigismund survives, but he has to survive to form the terrible chapter of the Black Legion.
That's not a
Black
spoiler.
Templars even.
Yeah, Sigismund we always knew that he survived.
Yeah, jerk.
Yeah.
Unless it's a different Sigismund.
Yeah,
that's
spoiler,
true. I do think Horus becomes Sigismund at the end.
Bill Sigismund of Mars. Yeah.
Danny, you're nodding along like that claim made sense, but are you guys trying to tell me that Horus is Sigismund, who then dies to baby Horus? Is that the plot of this book?
Twice. Yeah, it happens again.
That's more satisfying than Black Templar fluff.
That checks out.
And then they put Dorn on the throne.
Okay. True. After they don't escape the Eye of Terror, they end up in because it's still a pirate book, just like book 1. They end up in a squall or what have you. There's no space air to fly around anymore. They're they're becalmed. And
the winds.
Then,
the doldrums,
oh my God.
If you will, you guys.
Thank
the
you,
doldrums.
Captain Danny. Sure. Guess who shows up? It's the main antagonist and all of his lads. Oh my God,
he's here.
Holy shit. Tagus Derevik is here. And I mean, unless you want to talk about this duel, I'm going to do it in like one line.
The duel is incredibly nothing. I do think it.
They teleport to a planet. Abaddon has a big flex moment. He's like, I'm going to take 3 warriors, even though you said you're taking 10. Feel free to take 10, you huge puss. And then they all show up. They have some words. They have to open with an honor duel. Khayon fights dude for like 15 minutes while Abaddon and Derevek talk shit to each other, not really paying attention, which was pretty cool. And then Khayon begins to rediscover his anime anger, and he kills the shit out of this guy. He offers him a brief handshake, like, dude, you could come be a Black Legionnaire, and then the guy dies. And Abaddon's like, good job, Khayon, you rediscovered your anger. And Khayon's like, I'm going to fucking kill Derevek right now. I'm just going in. I'm just doing it. And Abaddon's like, don't do it. I
only have one arm,
do it.
But it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm down an arm.
Before that, all I want to inject there is the reason that Khayon discovers his anime anger is because they urinated on the Black Legion flag and kind of threw it at him like wetly, and it slapped on the ground, and he was like, "That's really gross." That's
my flag. Cool bit where Derevek's
like, green pee is like acidic, so that's really rude.
The flag had their goatmen. They got every goatman to
do
on it.
Yeah.
Oh, goat pee.
That's more
even
insulting
worse.
that way.
Yeah.
I counted. Yep. They talk about urine 4 times in this book specifically.
Yeah.
And that's not like a ton, but it's more than I would expect. Yeah.
This sounds like an individual trigger to you because I didn't count one time. Didn't register with me at all, man. It seems like a TayLore problem.
What drove you to count the mentions of urinating in books?
Yeah.
Well, I had to listen to Jonathan Keebler say urine in my ear 4 or 5 times, and on the last read through, I don't know. It digs in. At that point, like the urine seeps in, and I can't get away.
You can't leak your opinions out if he's leaking his urine opinions in.
Right. Yeah. It's clogging all the holes.
So
anyway,
Khayon tries to kill Derevek. Derevek says, "You can't do it. You're super soft. You'll never kill me. Kneel." Khayon kneels. He has a really embarrassing moment in front of his best friends, and then he just walks back, and they're like, "Let's not talk about that ever again." And then, yeah, and then the warp ghosts show up, which is like a phantom. Right, that's literally what everybody does. They just don't make eye contact for weeks after that. The warp ghosts show up. They show up in a fleet out of nowhere into becalmed waters. They teleport one dude onto the bridge of every ship, and they teleport one dude down to talk to this group. And they say, hey, we can get one of your squads out of here, but not the other guys. So give us an offer, and we will choose amongst the two. And Derevek gives like an Alexandrian. Oh, you go. Yeah,
Tanner. By squads, we mean like one of these
the 2 fleets. Yeah. Squads like high school clique squads, not like literally a 5-man tactical. Yeah. You and the boys in the squad.
This is kind of my lead-in for one of the things I really don't like about this book, and is that Derevek just sucks. What? Derevek is the worst. Yeah. Okay.
What? So, this was his best moment. What are you talking about?
He's so
this was Abaddon. This was awesome for Abaddon.
This was good for both of them.
Exactly.
This was good for both of them.
Every character in this book who isn't Abaddon takes a huge L all the time just to show how cool Abaddon is, and I feel like
come on,
let me sell how they're both cool, and then you tell me why it's not cool. All right,
okay, cool.
Derevek goes like, I'll go first, and he steps up and gives this Alexandrian monologue about here are all of the things I will bequeath to you, like ships and men and material and 100,000 souls stolen from the Black Legion. I'll give you the talent of Horus and on, right? Like I will reward you with the riches only this king can give.
Sure. Right.
And then Abaddon hears all of this. Even Khayon is like, damn, the loot like thief in me thought that was pretty impressive. Abaddon walks over and is like, Khayon, what should I do? He's like, you should sacrifice something. So he walks over and just says, whatever you need. Which is like, that was cool for both of them, dude. What are you talking about?
It's great. It's great for Abaddon. So it's cool when you say it like that for Derevek, but you have to also input the part where every character, mostly Khayon because it's in his head, is like, that's just the wrong thing to say. That's just obviously wrong. Like that'll never work.
No,
I think that just kind of sucks.
It's not even like, what Khayon does. He's overwhelmed by the offer. He's like, that's what will we ever do to match that? That he doesn't have any criticisms.
Sure, kinda. I don't really agree with that. He says so he does what Khayon does, which is just double think all the time.
Yes.
So at one point he says that's really crazy amazing, and at the same time that he's saying that, he's also saying like, in order for any sacrifice to matter to the warp, it has to matter to you.
He doesn't say that at the same time. That
he does say that.
I got you on the page, dude. No, He says that in his head in reaction to the offer, and then Abaddon comes over to him and asks, "You as a sorcerer, you as a summoner, what matters?"
Derevik is also a sorcerer.
Okay, but I'm just saying that's not what Khayon said in his head. When pressed, said you have to give something that matters.
I care not.
Let's just say Khayon is an unreliable narrator. That is why TayLore and TanNore read the same page differently.
All right.
I just think it's incredibly lame that like Khayon would know that in his brain and just tell that to Abaddon and have it be obviously right. And this guy over here who is also supposed to be on Abaddon's level, and absolutely nothing in this book that I see at all indicates to me that he is even close to Abaddon's level. Every time that he does something that doesn't involve owning Khayon, he gets slapped. And this is one of the biggest examples of that. Like, everything he says here is just obviously wrong if you've been paying any attention. And as like a super mega powerful chaos man who does all the green stuff, I feel like he should probably know that. And it just kind of undercuts any like, I don't know, like, what's up?
This guy is supposed to be Abaddon's antagonist, right?
Yeah.
Like, he should be on his level. The Chaos Gods have given him power, to me anyway. The Chaos Gods have given him power just to make Abaddon work for what he's supposed to get, right?
Yes.
Like, they've already chosen Abaddon. They don't give a shit about this other guy.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. I can see that reading, except for Draknayan, because Draknayan is not connected to the gods. He is like his own thing. And Draknayan is calling to this guy just as loudly as he is calling to Abaddon. Like, that indicates to me that he has a real, like, Derevik has a real chance here, instead of what we see, which is him just taking a massive L and being flatly wrong every time he's not talking to Khayon.
He thinks he has a chance.
Draknayan is literally screaming at him.
To be fair, again, all the off-screen stuff, TayLore, he does win. Many of the battles, they're constantly contesting the Black Legion. He's just
as you yourself said, the off-screen stuff doesn't matter. It's chaos magic. Who cares?
Okay. Let's talk about the next bit, dude. Let's talk about the next
magic. Chaos magic. Who cares? We got past that duel.
Yeah.
We've escaped from the warp because we tried really hard and it worked the second time.
No, we gave up a bunch of stuff to a bunch of ghosts who then led us through with no casualties after we tried really hard and immediately failed.
Yeah.
Even better. So now we come on to TayLore. What you're describing is the greatest 40k space battle ever written.
He did.
I think it's okay. So fair. I can see how you would think that. That's a smooth brain take, much like all of mine. So I see how that resonates. I actually hate this scene. I think it's terrible, personally. So okay. So the first thing that happens is all right. So we got the Black Legion fleet, and we got not the Imperial Fist, the Black Templar fleet.
Yeah.
And the very first thing that happens is the Vengeful Spirit. It just leaves all of its cover. The whole fleet is back there. It just leaves, and then it takes down the Eternal Crusaders' shields in one volley.
Yeah.
Does a magic backflip.
Yeah.
Goes the other way, and then in the space of where he went the other way and is now completely turned around, she is now re-engaging the Black Legion fleet. Wait, no,
the rest
other
of the
one.
Black Templar fleet. Yeah.
Yeah, the other Black Space Marines.
Yeah.
The Black Armored Space Marines.
Yeah.
Engaging them somehow. Magic. I don't know.
It's a Coronis dive, dude. Come on, we've been over this
straight at him and then does a magic backflip.
Yeah.
Okay. So they do a space Immelman, and then it continues.
Right. There's no gravity in space, TayLore.
There is gravity in space. That is objectively wrong. Yes.
That's false.
No.
That's not how.
There is
have you ever been to space
in this scene, though? That was pretty cool, Danny. You probably like that.
They're in reality, so like all the natural laws, natural laws apply, which is why I think them just doing a magic back. Okay, so
no,
like
I'm not Danny. I'm not a lawyer here, but does space have
I'm not
laws?
a lawyer either.
Yeah,
I don't think space has laws. So how can you violate laws in
international maritime space laws?
I don't know if you know this, John, but in 40k there are space lawyers.
Space lawyers.
Yep, they're called the Inquisition.
They're the worst. But this space battle here, we do these impossible flips that are possible with science and black magic.
And like I get it. Like the Vengeful Spirit is like super powerful because it's the Vengeful Spirit. It's one of the most powerful ships ever made. But like the Eternal Crusader is also that, and the Eternal Crusader just takes a huge L here, so that the Vengeful Spirit can do a cool backflip.
The Eternal Crusader is kicking the crap out of the rest of Abaddon's fleet by itself.
No, it's not. No, it's not. They immediately lose. The first thing that happens is
they're immediately going to lose anyway. They're not the protagonists.
Here are the two ships. They're evenly matched. This one is the Eternal Crusader. This one is the Vengeful Spirit. The Vengeful Spirit flies over, takes down its shields in one single shot, and then just leaves, which is a running theme with the space battle. Apparently, in naval combat in space, you can just leave. You have much like being a magician. Space battle has no consequences. You can just dip, but that's later. So I just think it sucks. I just think it's lame because the Eternal Crusader gets to do exactly nothing except for two other lines. One of them is it getting owned, and the other one is it doing something as it limps away.
All right, so the Eternal Crusader gets freebooted, right? Like off the table, like on the first.
It's got 7 models left.
Right, just totally owned.
Right.
The space battle took about 30 minutes. It was very one-sided.
Right. Yeah.
And okay, so
one of the greatest ships in the world is levied by this old forgotten ship in less than 30 minutes.
Right. Nobody even knows what the Vengeful Spirit is. It's obviously a garbage ship for garbage people.
Yeah, no one's ever heard of it.
It does obviously suck for sure. Like, I'm glad you all agree with that.
It's really renowned locally in the Eye of Terror. But everyone knows the Eternal Crusader, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I don't know. So I just think it's lame when two opponents who should be relatively equally matched meet each other and one just dies. One just takes a massive L for the other one, which is what happens with Derevek, which is what happens with the Eternal Crusader. It actually doesn't happen with Sigismund, and the Sigismund battle is just awesome.
Can I make a logistical criticism here?
Yeah, sure.
I think the Black Legion dragged 100,000 Marines plus ships to load them through the warp, and showed up to the Templars who were no longer at Legion strength, and they sent their oldest man out to fight.
But that's not true. Like when the Black Legion fly out of the Eye of Terror, Abaddon himself is like, man, I guess there's another Black Legion. Like verbatim, he says that. So
that was just a joke about the color of the ships, though. That
seems silly.
They're Black Templars.
It was a silly joke. It was like, oh look, the Imperial Fist painted their armor black. That's hilarious.
But he already knew that. I don't think so. I think he was talking about the actual strength of the fleet that they're fighting.
I'll give you this scene as not being a strong scene in the book. But that's because this whole scene is just so you can watch a better scene, which is the Sigismund duel.
You are
which
correct.
is an awesome scene.
The book sort of
because it's not a scene at all, right?
What's up?
Because it's not a scene at all, right? It just kind of happens in the background.
It takes an hour to get there.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't actually happen, right? It's just a description of this happened, and I've never seen two people fight so hard, and then
kinda. So so Khayon has to stay back on the Vengeful Spirit, and everyone else gets to go have a big party pun time in the Eternal Crusader and doing a big slaughter on the other Black Marines for fun. And so he's like, this is so boring. I hate space battles so much. And so he just kind of jumps into another Ezekarian's brain and just kind of rides along for the ride. And eventually we get to the part where that I can't remember his name. Ekadon?
James.
That's wrong.
the
James.
apothecary, right?
Yeah. The apothecary.
Is Caradon? I don't know.
Yeah,
something
like that.
Something. Well,
That's good.
Okay. So anyway, so they get to the final battle. Like it's Sigismund and 9 sword brethren versus just Abaddon and 40 of his guys.
Yep.
And Abaddon, I don't know. Okay, so Abaddon takes the time to talk to Sigismund.
Yeah.
And he's like, you should just join us. Like, I'm obviously right. All my best friends are here. We can be best friends. I really like you just as a friend for right now. We could be more if you join up.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, he even he opened his Tinder text at the beginning of the fleet scene when they emerge into real space.
He does,
and they immediately ping the enemy ship, right? The Eternal Crusader.
Matches
and
in your area.
Yeah. Abaddon's like,
Crusader actually,
Siggy, long time no see. What's up, dude? And Sigismund's like, something, something, the Emperor, something, something, sword.
Remember
something,
when we tried
something,
to
go
kill
back
each
to
other
hell.
2 weeks to 10,000 years ago?
And
Kinda,
Abaddon's like, haha, bro, long time no talk. And then Sigismund hangs up on him. So he's like, he's getting a little nagged, getting a little rejected.
Siggy G calls him to really say nothing. He kind of just like lounges there for most of the scene. He's like, hey,
Like I do.
Ab. Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, hey, Abby, I see her here. Finally, I've been waiting. And Abby is like, yeah, man, it's really good to see you. Like, we should catch up. Like, I'm heading over to your house right now.
Yeah.
Like, we can get down for sure. And Siggy G is like, and he hangs up. And so Abby Daddy breaks into his house.
Yeah.
And
brings all of the boys with him.
If I break into your house, what are you going to do? That's what he says, right?
Yeah, he brought his milkshake to the yard, and so he had to come in. That's the contract.
Yeah.
And so they have this confrontation.
In the Codex Astartes.
And
it is.
I just think this scene, so specifically the talk, I think is kind of strange. I just don't understand at this point, after everything that Abaddon has done, or Abby Daddy, as I will continue to call him, has done and perpetrated, and what Siggy G has done and perpetrated. Like, this is after the scouring. I just don't understand, like, Abaddon being like, yeah, man, I definitely think you will join up with me now. Like, you'll see that I'm right, for sure. And he does believe that, as he explains to Khayon later. Like, he definitely is, like, emotionally hurt when Siggy is like, I mean, obviously not, dude. Like,
yeah, okay. Did you see that episode
mean?
of Rick and Morty where Jessica gets stolen and locked in a time crystal and then watches all of eternity pass? This is
gonna
just
give
like
you a
that.
hard no.
Okay, this is exactly like that. Abaddon has been gone for like a month. The heresy just happened, and he found out that and he found out that the Empire is now a holy religious order like 6 hours ago. And then he shows up and sees Sigismund. And he's like, my dude, weren't we just having a big argument about how he shouldn't be God? Come on, it didn't pan out the way you wanted. Let's be bros. Let's throw all these silly guys aside. And Sigismund's like, no, I really buy the God stuff. Like, it's a disagreement, but it makes sense that Abaddon doesn't think this is like an irresolvable situation.
That's just not a line I can
Christian.
buy. Yeah, like, that's
you
just
see that
like,
uncle at Thanksgiving, and it's really awkward all of a sudden. You can't agree on anything anymore. Yeah, that's
like,
what happened to Abaddon. It hurts.
Obviously, converts are the most zealous. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I just don't buy this scene after, like, the heresy where Sigismund becomes the Emperor's champion, and, like, Abaddon knows about it. He's filled with divine power, and he's like, wow, and Abaddon, I guess, is like, that seems pretty secular to me. As, you know,
because they didn't believe in gods.
And Abaddon still kind of doesn't. Like, the Sons of Horus are actively worshiping Horus as I don't know. Chaos. Did you guys know that Chaos Space Marines are, like, hypocritical? I have big brain takes here. Anyway, so after Abaddon gets done being emotionally abused by Sigismund, I guess, they have a fight. They resolve the milkshake in the yard situation.
Yeah, strawberry.
No, vanilla for sure.
Black Templar, Sean,
vanilla and peanut butter, I think.
Yeah.
That's fair for sure. I think that's right. And so, okay, so they're fighting. I can't really do the scene justice by talking about it, other than the end, I think.
Yeah.
Where the Sigismund is old now, right? He's actually lived like 1,200 years, so he's old man now. And Abaddon isn't, having lived in the time warping eye. And so Khayon is like, I thought that age would cripple Sigismund, but all it did was bring him down to our level. And at the end of the fight, Sigismund recognizes that the only way he can, like, have a chance at killing, because he knows he's dead, right? Like, there's 50 other guys in the room. Even if he kills Abaddon, like, he will die after. And he recognizes that the only way to have a chance to accomplish his goal is to just accept his death. And the first time that that opportunity presents itself, he takes it without thinking. He immediately puts his whole sword into Abaddon. And I mean, he gets cut in half for his trouble, but, like, the first opportunity he gets, I don't know, I thought that was really cool. like this is very easily my favorite part of the book.
Yeah, it's the ending of Samurai Champloo. It's great both times. Like,
sure, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then, guys, we are running short on time here, and we know kind of like the big climactic part of the book would be part of that Sigismund duel.
Right.
Taylor, so amazingly descriptive of it. It was a fantastic part of the book. Before we start to kind of wrap things up here, Tanner, just a quick 30 seconds thoughts on Black Legion, the second book here.
Yeah, Black Legion is pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I think it characterizes the warp really well. I think there's a bunch of high points, and Taylor's complaints are ridiculous. You don't need logistics in the warp. It's a fun read. Independent of our complaining, it's a really fun read.
I am unreasonable. That is canon for sure.
It is. Yeah. And then Taylor, 30 seconds, just a quick recap of your favorite item from the Taco Bell menu.
Oh, the cheesy gordita crunch with no lettuce, please. Thank you. I'll take 4 of them.
Amazing, perfect. And then I think we've lost our Danny picture, but Danny, you still there and able to tell us your kind of thoughts on Black Legion real quick? Amazing.
No, he's
perfect. Dead. Yeah, yep. He is. That TV is as hollow as my soul. And I think what better way to wrap up this very special episode of Lore Bros. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Tanner, for coming on again, talking about the book. We're excited to move forward now. Next time you see these guys together, we're going to be talking about the Siege of Terra, the new hotness that's coming in. And kind of thankfully, Taylor wrapped everything up a couple episodes ago and did all of the Horus Heresy up to that point.
Oh, yeah.
So if you guys need caught up, double check that out there. Next week, we are moving. We're being kicked out of Tuesdays. We are going to be moving to Monday nights on the Frontline Gaming Network in the same place. We're also going to be on earlier, before the Watershed. That's a UK joke. So we're going to be 9 p.m. Eastern on Monday nights on the Frontline Gaming Network. I will still get to see my favorite catch the phrase because the podcast doesn't come out until Tuesday. We will be talking to Tyler Bortel. A lot of you guys wouldn't know Tyler. Tyler is one of the top Tyranid players in the ITC. He went 5-1 at SoCal with Tyranids, pure Tyranids, and he also edits this show. So feel free to remove anything negative or incorrect, or even add stuff in there. And then Kara Quinn, it is a super good call. But for Danny, who's away for everyone else, thank you so much. Be sure to check out the rest of Frontline Gaming Network. The shows this week, including Signals tomorrow night. And then I guess for everyone else, we will see you next Tuesday.
Cool.